Hey everybody, welcome. Sorry I am late. Hi, I'm excited for tonight because obviously I get to be here with all of you, and we're gonna discuss this episode 10. But the dream team is finally back together. Kara is going to be here. She was not with us. Hi Eileen. She was not with us. Hi Geek in the Kitchen because of circumstances beyond my control and her control and Dee Dee's control. So I'm just really happy to have my favorite people back tonight. The episode tonight was not a lot. Like, honestly, the tweeting, I live tweet the show every Sunday, and it was very light. I'm assuming something else was on, maybe basketball. I don't watch basketball, but I'm assuming May and June are pretty big for basketball. So I'm thinking that's what happened because there wasn't a whole lot going on Twitter. I'm not saying that the episode was great. It wasn't. But there's usually a little more activity on there. So it's funny because where's Dee Dee at? Kara, I accepted you. I don't see you in here. Let me that I was late, but now I don't see you. Dee Dee, where you at? Hey bestie, hey Kim, my best friend is here. Kim is here. Everybody, tonight Kim is on pillow talking this episode, and this is a big episode. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Hey. I'm glad to be back.
We missed you. We were really, really missing you. So I'm glad you're back. I don't know where Dee Dee's at. Dee Dee said that she was ready and then texted me and then told me I was late. I don't know where she's at. Hey Kim, yeah, everybody make sure you watch tonight for Pillow Talk. Kim is going to be pillow talking the Angela episode, which should be interesting. And also, if you didn't see my story, there was a TikTok live earlier with Angela, Tyree, Kimberly, Soulja Boy. Everybody was there. So if you didn't get to watch that, don't worry. It wasn't drama. Nobody was fighting. Everybody was getting along fine. But it was nice. It was nice to see everybody together because, what about that live today? Yeah, Kim, what about that live today? I was happy to see everybody getting along. Hey.
Hi. How are y'all?
I'm good. The gang's back together, right? We're all back together.
Yes.
It's been so long. I missed all of us together. So this episode is episode 10. We got Angela and Michael, which, has been highly anticipated. There's been a lot of drama, between whether we were going to get them. And if we were going to get them, what would we get? Because we found out that they did not film with them as long as they got to film with everybody else. So, there was a lot in this episode. And also Nicole and Mahmoud, it appears that after the 500th time Mahmoud requested, hey, Michael's here.
Hi, Michael.
The 500th time that Mahmoud requested a divorce, it appears that Nicole is now granting him freedom. Because I don't know, guys, like, I don't like to use the word kidnap, but I do feel like Mahmoud has been asking to be released from this relationship, and I kind of feel like Nicole won't give him that. And I don't know, like, I feel like if a man keeps telling you, I don't love you, I don't want to be married to you, I want a divorce, let him do that. Like, and then she's like, oh, we'll just sleep on the couch, and you should just stay here, we should try to work it out. I feel like you should have your own process of whether or not you want to stay and work it out. And I feel like Nicole has been taking that away from him. He's never changed his tune since he got there. He's always kept saying, I think we should divorce. I don't think this is working. I don't want to be here. He's anti-American, right? Like, can you imagine if you dislike something with a passion and now you are a part of it in your everyday life, right? Like, because he was saying that Nicole stayed out until 2 a.m. and she came home drunk, right? That's a Tuesday for me. But for Mahmoud, for Mahmoud, that's not something that he expects from his wife. And, it's a huge, we talk about culture shock and cultural differences. And I think that for him being a Muslim, it's just, and, he's a high, what do you call that? A high functioning Muslim, like a high up, like he's up there with following the rules. Because, Bilal and Shida, they're also in that religion, but they're much more laid back, like you never get that uptightness from Bilal and Shida that you get from Mahmoud. Everything that is done around him is so anti his religion. It's almost like he feels uncomfortable around anyone non-Muslim, right? Like, I feel like he's taken it to an extreme. So I'm just happy that they're ending their relationship because this hasn't really been a relationship. They just fight each other and yell at each other and scream at each other, and she holds him hostage against his will, and I just want him to be free, right? Like, I'm all about freeing people.
She holds him hostage, but he said, I want a divorce so many times that she's numb to it. But literally every other thing out of her mouth is get out, get out, get out. She's kicked him out like 700 times and then goes and gets him every time.
Because she is interested in chaos.
Oh, yeah.
She has absolutely no intentions of ending the relationship with him. She just likes the chaos. She likes to fight. She loves to scream. She loves to yell, throw things, slam doors. And I don't know how she, was raised or who was around her, but, when we're raised a certain way and we see things, that becomes our expectation. And I think her expectation of love and marriage and a relationship is what she's projecting onto Mahmoud. And for Mahmoud, that's not it. That's not what he expects from a wife. That's not how he doesn't expect to yell at his wife and scream and fight every single day. And I can't imagine this man has only been there a matter of weeks, Cara.
Yeah.
Weeks. And this is what he's been kicked out of the house.
Even weeks. It seems like he's only been there a couple of days. I mean, he ain't even had the time to get his clothes out of his suitcase.
Well, yeah. What's the point?
He's done kicked him out every day since he's got there.
What's the point of him unpacking his suitcase if she's going to kick him out every day? Like, literally every day. And then right after she kicks him out, he packs all of his stuff and he leaves. She goes in the car and she's on like this rampage to find him. And I'm like, if I don't know what the definition of a toxic human being is, but if you look it up in the dictionary, there's a picture of Nicole, right? Because she literally kicks him out, screams at him, cusses at him, belittles him. And then the second he's had enough, he's the only person in the world that she wants to find. She's driving through Los Angeles trying to find him so she can put him back into captivity. And I feel like that's what she's doing. She's holding this man hostage. He literally just wants to go home. Like, at this point, I wanted to Venmo him enough money to go home. Like, just save this man, right? Like, give him a way out. We watch these domestic situations, and it's interesting because that is what it turned into, a domestic situation. But I still feel like he's kind of a victim here, right? Like, I don't know what happened and why the police were called or whatever, but watching what we get to see that was videotaped, I don't see how she's the victim, right? Like, and don't get me wrong, no one should ever lay their hands on another human being, regardless, man, woman, whatever. But this was a very toxic situation, and it makes me wonder if maybe he did it just so he could leave. How maybe the police presence would be enough to get him out. Like, it's a way out. And unfortunately, that was the only option he had, right? Like, because she wasn't going to let him leave by her own free will, let him leave. She was never going to let him do that. So I'm beginning to think maybe he had to do what he had to do to get somebody else there to save him, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know.
I'm over them.
Yeah.
All the
Me
way.
too.
Yeah.
Like, why are we watching these people that don't love each other, that don't respect each other, that don't want to be together? It's great. Speaking of, we watched another sex shop scene with Rob and Sophie. This is their second sex shop scene, which is ironic, Cara and Didi, because they aren't having sex. We learned that this season, that they haven't been having sex for months, but they continually go to sex shops. And instead of finding something fun and interesting to do, they fight in sex shops. And I think that's a huge red flag. If you can't go into a sex shop and find something that you both would enjoy together later on that day, and get excited about that, then you probably aren't attracted to each other, right? Like, you probably don't want to deal with each other. And unfortunately, that they can't get over the fact that they're intolerant of each other's presence, right? Like, I feel like Sophie, she's trying, but she's really not. Like, I feel like she's only willing to go so far with him because she knows that it's kind of an arrangement, right? Like, it's an arrangement. This is what she wants. The U.S., especially L.A., is where she wants to end up. And until she can get her paperwork, she's willing to go as far as, she needs to go. But dressing up in, what did he say? The girl from Scooby-Doo. What was her name? Velma or Wilma? Wilma? That's too far. Velma. Like, in Sophie's mind, that's too far. She's not willing to go to that extent. And it kind of looked like, fingers crossed, they might be breaking up in this episode, right? Because we know it has to end in disaster because they're going to reappear on The Last Resort, which I don't see what they're fighting for at this point. At this point, they remind me of Kalani and Asuelo. There's nothing really to fix. It's just, it's all broken and destroyed, and you just sweep up the pieces and throw it in the dumpster, right? Like, it's done.
even when she left, she said, I just want to see Kay. So we already know that. I mean, we know. We know. Like there's not even anything to anticipate with these people anymore. And then we already know that they're all going to be on the last resort. Literally, there's no anticipation with these people.
Well, can we back up about what you said, George? Yeah, they're not having sex together, but they're having sex. Yeah. She's banging the headboard with Kay, and then he's banging whatever wants to bang him. They're having sex, just not with each other.
That's interesting. But you're probably right, though. You know, she's 22, 23 now. It'll be very hard to believe that she's just going around not having sex for 6-7 months at a time. It'll be very difficult to believe. And I think that she's just repulsed by Rob. And do we blame her? Do we blame her for being repulsed by Rob? We kind of all are repulsed by Rob, right? Like, I feel like any woman who's living with him and has to deal with his stuff every day, I totally get it. Oh, she confronted him about the hoe phone, and he denies the hoe phone. He says that it was actually his phone that was vibrating or whatever. So how do we feel about her? I feel like it's bad to confront someone without evidence. So now that she confronted him without evidence, it's easy for him to lie or deny it because she doesn't have any evidence to back it up. Like, I think, you know, the FBI has taught us anything. It is, don't make any accusations until you can back it up. They are very silent on what they're doing, but then when you hear about it, they have every piece of information they need to lock that person up for a long time. Yes. And I think that's what she did.
Yes, I do. But also, Rob did a live the other day and explained the hoe phone. And it kind of made sense. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, I want you to explain it to me because I didn't see it. So what did he say about the hoe phone?
He had a good point because when we're watching it, remember we heard his voicemail?
Yes. We heard his voice. I did.
So someone else was calling him and it was connected to their Bluetooth. He said he's claiming it was somebody from TLC because like a butt dial from TLC because there's no other reason we would have heard his voicemail. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know.
Okay. Let me try to explain it differently.
Okay.
And then you can. So if me, you, and Dee Dee are all in a room and I'm connected to a Bluetooth, it doesn't matter. Now, if I call you, my phone is going to hear your voicemail, right?
Right. Yes.
If you call me, your phone's going to hear my voicemail.
Right.
So this other phone was calling Rob because Rob's phone was connected to the Bluetooth. That's why we heard his voicemail. So he's saying that it was like a butt dial from producers because his phone was in fact connected to the Bluetooth in their house.
Oh, I'm following you now.
Okay.
So one of the people, like a camera person.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm following you now. I totally get that. That's true. Yep. Okay, so, and I'm going to say this. So I have an iPhone, and if there's someone around me, like there's a lot of people around me that are around me constantly that have AirPods and iPhones, their things connect to my Bluetooth sometimes.
Yep.
So now that you've said that like sometimes I'll be on the phone and somebody will come too close to me and their AirPods will connect to my phone while I'm on it.
Yeah.
So now that you said that, and these producers and camera people are there pretty much 15, 20 hours a day, every day for weeks. This is very possible. See, now that you've said that.
I didn't give two shits about his bullshit excuse or whatever until he started explaining it. Then I was like, that makes perfect sense. So it just became a storyline because it worked out that way to be a storyline.
Maybe,
but he really
the producers did it on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. Remember
on TLC, they probably did.
That's what
TLC always be doing stuff on purpose.
The Jasmine and the lip gloss. You know, we're pretty sure the producers dropped that lip gloss in Gino's car because it's Gino.
That's exactly
who is Gino picking.
That's what Rob said in his live. He's like, there was literally no drama happening. Nothing was going on. And then all of a sudden that happened. He said, so I'm pretty sure it was somebody from the show.
Well, as much as I dislike, giving Rob any credit, that is very, I understand what he's saying now, because we know that production is not above or below setting things up or setting people up or planting items to help their storyline and their situation and to get views. So it sucks because I don't want to ever be Team Rob, but I do think that, right, but I do think when someone is innocent, they should not be punished for something they didn't do. And it's very possible that he's innocent and we're punishing him for something that he didn't do. And that goes firmly against everything that I believe. If somebody is innocent, they should not be punished for something they didn't do. So I'm going to let him get out of jail free on that card, because you know what? It's true. Actually, it happens in my car too, guys. When I pick up people that ride with me a lot, they'll get in my car and it'll connect to their phone. So you know what? This is very freaking possible. Now that I see it and I've applied it into my own life, this does happen. This seriously does happen. So do we think Rob's a cheater and he probably cheats all the time? Yes. Do we think that someone was calling an actual hoe phone? We can't prove that, right? We can't prove that. We can't make the accusation without proof. So we're going to let that go. We're going to let him be innocent until proven guilty on that, because we can't really go any further without any proof. And I mean, good for him for making sense of something, because usually Rob talks in circles. Right? Like, he doesn't usually make sense of much. Oh, so Sophie put on this outfit. I want to get y'all's opinion on this outfit at the sex shop. He said it wasn't sexy enough. He said that this was basically something that she would wear anyway. So what do you think?
Out of the car?
Yes, I did.
She was wearing a white version of that skirt.
She was.
With a t-shirt.
She was.
Yeah.
I mean, but okay. If you have, so say the person you're with, you're attracted to that person. Does it really matter what they're wearing? No. Or do you think that maybe Rob is so addicted to a certain type of woman, because we know that he likes to watch explicit videos and he likes to receive videos? Do you think that he's created an environment that's unrealistic for Sophie? Like, he wants her to walk around looking like a video vixen, every single day. And I think that might be unrealistic for their relationship. She's a very beautiful, but it's 2024. Some women don't want to feel objectified. They don't want to feel like a piece of ham, right? Like, they want to actually be treated like a human being with feelings, not just a walking set of boobs, So I can understand from her standpoint too, like, hey, I don't want to walk around with pasties on my nipples every day. Like, I want to have a little respect from you. So but how do you feel? Do you feel like it's okay to want that? Or do you think that he's taking it too far? Because in my opinion, her even going to the sex shop and obliging him a little bit, I feel like was enough effort, right?
I mean, this wasn't their first time in the sex shop. So she's making it seem like she's doing him a favor. I feel like this is something that they always did, but now it's a thing because they're not having sex. So she had to find some kind of an excuse, because he's not Kay. That's why she doesn't want to sleep with him. She's in love with him.
And I think because I don't think he's really attracted to her, because if he was really attracted to her, then why does she have to dress a certain way or look like a certain character for him to even want to be with her? That doesn't make sense.
Okay. Let's say this. I'm not Team Rob, but say you've been married for like a long time. And, I'll use a different reference because I don't like that one already. Say you've been eating your favorite dish for like years, right? You like it. It's always been your favorite. For me, it's spaghetti. I've liked it since I was a kid. After a while, it becomes bland to you. It doesn't serve the same spice. So you would change the recipe, right? You could add, I think I'm from Louisiana, we would add like sugar to the spaghetti sauce to make it a little sweeter. So I think, in my opinion, it could possibly be doing the same thing over and over, because he made a reference in this episode. He said, laying on your back while I do the work is not always fun. So he made it seem like she's the dead fish in the situation.
They both made each other sound that way.
Exactly.
So maybe in his opinion or his mind, which we will never understand, Rob's mind, maybe he thinks if we change, our outer appearance, what we're wearing, it will change the boring routine of what's going on during the intimacy. Because a lot of times there's people who've been married 10, 20, 30 years, and they'll tell you they've tried these types of things to keep things exciting. Because the same thing, just like you buy a car, right? In the first 2 years, you're in love with that car. And then 3 and 4 years later, it starts breaking down. There's issues with the car. You drive down the road, you see another car, you like that car, right? You like to change things. When you're married, you don't change your partner. So I was like, it could possibly be he wants to change the way that, the dead fish situation. And that's maybe why he's turning to the outfits. And it has to be extreme for him because of, what he's used to watching and seeing every day.
But George, if they're a dead fish, if you dress a dead fish, it's still gonna be a dead fish.
Yep.
Well, yeah, the dead fish is never gonna like bounce up and down or flip or fly. Oh wait, Eileen, we forgot to answer this question earlier. So she asked, why was Sophie's mom arrested? Okay, so 2 weeks ago, Sophie's mom was posting stories on Instagram about Rob, actually videos of Rob about Sophie and their situation. And from what we were told, information that we obtained was she made threats to Sophie as well as her own well-being. I think though they were called terroristic threats. And she was arrested on a Friday, and by that, like Monday or Tuesday, she was released and the charges were dropped. So it's not going forward. So there won't be like any court dates or anything. But from what I was told, she threatened Sophie's life as well as her own. Now, again, this is all alleged. This was never proven. She was never convicted of anything. This is all just what the information is saying about what happened. And she's been posting a lot lately this week saying how she still loves her daughter. Nothing will ever change. She's happy, which was really interesting. She said that she just kind of has to step back and let things be, but she'll never change their relationship with her daughter, which is interesting because the day she was arrested, she posted that she would never speak to her again. Yeah. So I'm assuming that there were conversations that were had. Yes, Portuguese Princess, you're the one that sent me those court records, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, you're the one that sent me the booking and everything. Thank you for that. So yeah, I don't know what conversations took place or what's going on, but Claire seems to be living a good life. She's been at a pool, looked like she's been swimming. She's living her best life. And Sophie posted today, I don't know if you guys saw it in my the George Mossey Show group on Instagram, but she was wearing basically nothing at this festival today. Did you guys see it? Yeah. Yeah, she was wearing basically nothing at a festival. I mean, literally like a swimsuit, but like a thong at like a music festival with like 20,000 people. And she was just twerking randomly for the crowd. So it's really interesting that she wouldn't wear anything sexy for Rob, but she would wear anything sexy for anyone. And that kind of opened my eyes a little bit because I was like, well, it's just you're repulsed by him because you would go to a festival with your whole backside out, right? Oh, yes, Portuguese Princess, she's been on OnlyFans. She actually was on OnlyFans 2 years before they did the show. And then when it premiered, she took it out of her bio and everything. But then pretty much after the first season, she just put it back in. Like she wasn't hiding it anymore. We already knew. When it comes to 90 Day and you go on the show, Cara, and Dee Dee, you guys are going to find everything. So there was no point of Sophie trying to hide that she was on it. And actually, guys, if you didn't know, you probably do. Rob was also there. Rob was on OnlyFans too. That was also a situation that they were dealing with.
Yeah, we know what Rob was doing on his OnlyFans.
Yep.
We do.
Still eating that cheese.
We know what was on there, and that's something.
Oh my gosh.
He hasn't really addressed that too.
I had to say that. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. I had to say that. Because I don't love Rob.
There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into, guys. We don't what's the word? We don't discriminate against anything that people are into.
Nope.
It's told if you do it and you like it and it's great, we stand behind. Well, I don't want to say stand behind. We stand by you.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yes.
Okay.
We're not getting back there.
Yeah, it sounded weird already just saying it. Oh. So I want to talk about Lauren and Alexi because Lauren looks. What's the best
Awful.
Awful, terrible, right? Like she kind of has the mobility of like a 95-year-old now.
Yeah.
Because this surgery has really taken like it's actually way more serious than she made it seem, because she was like, oh, it's a natural mommy makeover, you know, it's gonna be a natural process. Nothing about it in her recovery and how she looks now looked like it was natural. It all looks very invasive.
Yeah.
Right? Like she can barely walk. She's using a wheelchair to be for mobility issues. And she can't really do anything. And she's got all these bags that are leaking liquid. And guys, Alexi brought the liquid to the doctor, and I was eating. What's happening? Like, are we watching My 600-Pound Life? Like, I was like, y'all cannot be showing me fluids and surgeries. I eat during this show. I'm not just drunk, I'm also eating. Like, this was a lot for me. Because I was like, guys, seriously, y'all really doing me like this? Like, seriously? But I'm really
sorry, but I have to ask if anyone else actually died laughing. And I'm probably going to hell for this, and that's okay. But did anybody else die laughing when his kid fell off the chair?
I did laugh. But
I laughed so hard I rewound it 3 times and watched it again.
In my defense, I laugh when anyone falls.
I
like
do too, but that was funny.
It was funny. And watching Alexi, okay, so this kind of got to me too. So watching him not being able to figure out the washing machine, like I feel like it's 2024, right? And we are independent, and I really think it's crazy that men are so dependent on women still, to the point where they can't function. So I was like, okay, say your wife wakes up one day and decides she wants to be a lesbian and she's disgusted by you, so you're never going to wash her clothes again. Like, I'm trying to understand like how men go about their lives not knowing how to cook, not knowing how to clean, not knowing how to raise your children or take care of your children or do these things, or they can do it, but it's so stressful that they're on the verge of a nervous breakdown. But they expect a woman to do this daily with no help, with no assistance, with no complaining. And it's like, we have to start to, you know, be a little more independent and a little more
He did say he used to do his laundry, but he's never done it in this specific machine. And let's be real, that's a very, very new machine. It would take me a minute to figure it out. And I do laundry.
Yeah, it runs on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Well, if it runs on, okay, I see it. It's one of those app-based machines. I mean, I understand technology is one thing, but you know, if you're married and you both are running a household together, and I get it, he works a lot outside the house, but I think that duties should also be delegated. So like, say Lauren is doing all of those duties Monday through Friday. If he's off on Saturday and Sunday, he should take some of those off of her plate, not only to give her a break, but to learn how to do it. Because in this situation, it's really becoming obvious that he's never done it before. He's never given her that opportunity to take a break. And now this is a unvolunteered break, right? Like, she's not allowed to do it now. And now he has zero knowledge of how to do it, how to make it work, how to actually run.
Different about it, to be perfectly honest.
Really?
Yeah, I do, because I have a washer and dryer. They're not old, but they're not Wi-Fi. And if I brought in that machine, it would take me a little bit, and I'm pretty good with technology. It would take me a little bit to figure it out, but just because I know how to operate it doesn't necessarily mean I want my husband to touch my brand new washing machine. I'd be like, no, I got it. And I would just do it just because it's a brand new machine. Like that machine is very, very brand new. Like, very brand new. So I'm sure even Lauren doesn't know how to use it like the back of her hand. So I don't feel like I don't feel like he's dumb to it. He walked up, he knew to sort the laundry. There were whites, there were colors mixed. He sorted it. He was, I feel differently about it. If it was my brand new machine, and I'm sure it was in the thousands of dollars, I would probably be pretty picky about who did the laundry on the daily.
I mean, yeah, true. I understand. I understand what you mean. I just think that he should know how to do it. You know how? Okay, so back in the day, like I've had tons of jobs, right? Like I used to work at McDonald's. I used to run a gas station. I used to run a Burger King. I used to run a Taco Bell. I used to run a Pizza Hut. Like I used to manage all types of stuff. So like I had to know every position in every place that I worked, no matter what. I had to know how to cook, to make the dough. I had to, when I ran gas stations, I had to know how to fill the tanks, stick the tanks, measure the tanks, all of that. I had to know everything. So it's like, I look at a household as like, you're the management, like the parents, like there's a GM. Usually the woman is a GM. She's running everything. And then the man is a co-manager. He's managing the household when she can't be there. I just think that he should be able to run that household in the absence of her. And I think that a lot of relationships and marriages and situations are in that point where in the absence of your wife or your girlfriend, you can't do it on your own. And I think it's crazy to me. You know, I feel like you should be a team.
I agree with that. But also, the bed was made nicely, but there was also a list left of things to do. He didn't have any problems, you know, doing the dishwasher. He knew what he was doing there. I'm sure the guy can run a vacuum. I'm sure he can do all the things. But again, we have to look at what he was operating. And he said in the beginning, when she was going for surgery, he said, you do laundry 5 times a day. I'll do it once a week. So we as women have very different views of when laundry should be done and how it should be done.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Maybe this is the first week they had it, and he just hasn't. He said he had to download the app, so he doesn't know. I mean, again, I was looking it up. That is a very, very machine. It has not been out long.
I definitely think that because you know I have a washer and dryer and they don't have an app. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not gonna say mine are new, but there's way less buttons and screens like than mine. So I definitely understand the technology barrier of things. And you know, the newer the technology is, I've been to people's houses where their refrigerator, their TV, their electricity, the lights, everything is connected, right? And I feel like if I walk into their house, I'm not going to be able to figure it out, right? Because I don't live there. I don't use it every day. So I definitely know what you mean by that. Like if I was to go to an Airbnb and everything is, you know, controlled by an app or through technology, and this is my first 20 minutes in that Airbnb, it's going to take me a half hour to figure out how to turn on the light. You know, so I understand well. So I don't know. It just seemed like a lot for him, you know, and I was like, taking care of the kids and cleaning and stuff, that shouldn't be a lot. That should be something that he practices, you know, on a regular basis. And I think that a lot of men, for some reason, there's some weird hierarchy with men where they're like, oh, well, I'm the father, I'm the man. I don't have to change diapers. I don't have to clean the house. I don't have to cook. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. And it's like, I feel like as a team, you know, I feel like a lot of women end up resenting their husbands or their spouses because of, you know, all of the thankless work that they do. And keep in mind, I was raised by a single mom, so I know how hard women have to work. My mom had to do all that and go to work 2 jobs, you know, so I know how hard they work. And I think a lot of men, you know, who were raised this way with a mom and a dad, and then the mom did everything, the dad went out and worked, and this is just the dynamic that they think works. And it does for some people, but, you know, sometimes there can be some resentment. You know, 3 kids under 3 can make a woman resent you because you have all the time in the world to do what you want, and she doesn't. She's literally scraping time to use the bathroom, and then you have all the time in the world to do what you want. That could build some resentment.
But I also feel like this scene was highly set up to make it look like he had all this extra, because he had to come home because his dad can't watch all 3 kids at once. That's too much, right? That's what he said.
Yeah, because her mom was usually there with him. Yeah, you're right.
But his dad's literally sitting there watching the kids smack his face on the bar and didn't even budge. So I feel like it was all here, Alexi, make it look like doing the laundry and doing the dishes and doing the kids and da-da-da-da-da for this scene.
Well, yeah.
Well, I got a question. Was I the only one that noticed? Okay, they did surgery under her chin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then why was there nothing that even looked like she had surgery? No bruising. There was no cuts. There was no stitches. How was
Yes.
she able to talk as well as she was able to talk? How was she able to eat like she was supposed? I mean, like she was eating like nothing.
Yep.
Like when you're being cut up here, I mean, you're not going to be able to talk that well.
Yes,
Definitely
I agree.
not eat. And then when they took the bandages off, there was nothing there. She wasn't even bruised.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
I don't know. I can't answer that, but I saw, that there was no scar or bleeding or stitches, and I was confused. I don't know the type of technology that they have now, when they do these surgeries. Because the one thing that I noticed last week was the doctor, when he was done, he was like, "We're gonna get you home so you can get some food." I was always taught to believe when you have major surgery, you are off solid foods for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that technology has gone pretty far, because when he said we're going to get you so you can get some food, and she literally ordered food that arrived before she even got out of the surgery, because I was like,
that throws me off too, because I know someone who had a tummy tuck, and she was on liquids, like no solid food, just liquids, broth, jellos, stuff like that, for 30 days.
well, that's what I thought too. Like, I know when people have bariatric surgery, they are literally on a liquid diet for at least 10 to 14
They're
days.
30 days. It's 30 days. The first 30 days you have to be on a liquid diet. No solids whatsoever. Liquid diet. Like broth, jello, like soft puddings and stuff like
Well,
that.
we
So
know that they did make an incision, because unfortunately we saw it last week, for her stomach, because remember there's like a little, she called it like a pouch that she wanted.
Okay.
That was,
I just asked Dr. Google, and Dr. Google said, after liposuction, if you're not vomiting or nauseous, you can start eating solid foods the day after liposuction, starting with liquids only and slowly moving on, just like Dee Dee just said.
okay. So did she, well then what's going on now? Because if she had a tummy tuck and the doctor said that she could eat food, and she ordered food at the, literally it came to,
she had liposuction, she had the fat taken from her butt that she's sitting on, fat taken from her belly that she's putting food into, and fat taken from her chin that she's eating with and chewing with and put into her boobs, and she's sitting there fine, eating.
so what's,
and
well, did you,
laughing and says she doesn't F around when it comes to food.
Yeah.
I'm confused now, because now I'm beginning to wonder, because at first I was like, well, maybe she didn't really have the surgery, but we literally watched parts of the process happen. So maybe there's a different timeline, like maybe the day of the surgery and then what we were watching, the timeline was different, and they were trying to sell it to us as it was the same. I don't know, because in my opinion, I thought they were doing too much in one surgery, because I was like, that's too many risks doing so many procedures at once, because one surgery is risky. So doing that procedures at once, I thought they should have split it up, because putting someone under anesthesia, that can be very trying on your body, on your heart. So it's very strange that they wanted to put her under for 5 or 6 hours. That just seemed like a really high risk, when you could just do, one surgery, wait a few weeks, one surgery, wait, and just, it wouldn't be so strenuous on your heart and on your body.
Did you notice too that she still had the marks where they were supposed to cut or liposuction her arm? There was nothing there. It was just still
the ink.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Okay. I'm beginning to think that they probably did this surgery in sections, but the production didn't want to come back 3 or 4 times to film it. I think that that's probably what happened, because in order for them to fly out to Hollywood, Florida, and film they have to keep sending crews out there. I'm assuming that they sent crews out there for the tummy tuck, because I'm pretty sure that's what we saw, was the lipo and the tummy tuck, and then whatever else she had done, they didn't film it. And unfortunately, they weren't going to come out, because and I'm assuming the chin and the other parts that were going to happen at a later date, they just filmed everything that while they were there
Yeah.
and called it a day. So I'm assuming she had everything done because I have seen her Instagram and she looks great. Like, did you see the photo she posted the other day where she was out like on a pier? She looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah. But, and I am not body shaming, fat shaming. Don't come at me, people. I just have to say, if you look at her, any of her pictures that she's posted before in swimming suits, bikinis, whatever, and you look at the one she just did recently, her breasts don't look any different. And she supposedly had those done. She looks exactly the same.
That's what they were saying on Twitter. They said that there's no chance that she's not going to go back for her boobs again because they said they don't look any bigger at all.
Yep,
and that was that's what people were posting the picture on Twitter. They were like, where was the fat that they took from her butt to put in her boobs? It doesn't look like. But let's be realistic. Did Lauren really have that much of a butt to be taking fat out of?
I mean, I don't feel like she had any fat, but
right? Like, I'm assuming whatever fat that they were able to take out, it's not going to look like much. You know, if you want big boobs, that's usually replaced with silicone. You know, because most people don't have enough fat. I don't want to say most people, some people do. But usually if you're heavier, your boobs are automatically bigger. So like for a smaller person, you don't really have enough fat anywhere to healthily take it away to put it anywhere else. You know, unfortunately. And I think that since she wanted to do natural, she didn't want to put in anything foreign in her body, which I respect, right? I respect the fact she didn't want to go silicone. It's a foreign object. I respected that. But I think that if she goes down the line of, you know, I need to look a certain way or I'm not going to be happy until I look a certain way, she's going to go back. And she's probably going to end up with silicone because now that she has even less fat on her body, where would they get it? They would have to take the fat from somebody else, right? They would literally have to do like a fat transplant from somebody else to give her those boobs because she doesn't have anywhere. There's nowhere to take it from.
Honestly, I don't think she looks
maybe
did before.
Maybe they can go and get it out of Jasmine's lopsided butt.
Speaking of Jasmine, okay,
Sorry, I had to say that.
No, it's true. She does have a weird shape, but she was in New York City this weekend. I don't know if you guys saw for something modeling. I'm assuming pageant. So I'm sure we'll be seeing that soon. But I want to talk about, she came clean with Gino and said that she doesn't feel comfortable having kids right now. And I just gotta say this. I respect 150% her decision because she was like, I don't feel comfortable bringing another human being into this world when I'm unable to be with and take care of the children that I already have. And guys, Jasmine says a lot of stuff. I 100% wholeheartedly agree with her and I stand behind every word she said because a lot of times people will have a family and then things change and they'll just go have a new family and forget the last one. And I was like, Jasmine has a decent heart underneath because she, you know, Larissa, her kids are still over there. Like, she never got them. Like, Jasmine is like, look, before I make a new life for myself, I want to make sure that my children are a part of it. And I respect that. And it's like a lot of times we're ragging on her, but I was like, she is definitely a decent human being under there somewhere. Because some women would.
But I have to say, in true Jasmine fashion, she said, I don't want to have a baby. I can't start a family in good faith knowing my children aren't here because, you know, it makes me so depressed. So now I want to join a pageant. Okay?
Well, yeah. You know, Jasmine, there's always going to be but and then something else. Yeah, you know.
But they can't. He can't. He can pay all that money for her to be in modeling and a pageant, but he can't afford $5,000 for a lawyer.
Oh, nope. Oh, that's definitely a storyline. I guarantee you that lawyer has already been hired because Jasmine would leave him. Like, let's be real. If Jasmine wants something really bad, or option 3, maybe she doesn't really want to bring him over here as fast as she says.
Yeah.
Maybe she does want to do some pageants first and live her best life and go to Miami and go to LA and go to New York for trips. Like, maybe she does want to get a little bit of that out of her system. So maybe the up to 2 years works perfectly fine for everybody involved. That could be an option too.
All she has to do is be depressed every weekend and she gets a new trip, a new spa day, a new pageant, all that stuff. I mean,
it's just
a couple of tears.
it's a pretty good deal. It's a pretty good deal, you know, and I feel like I think that, but if she would have said, okay, let's have a baby, I would have judged her for it. So I think that I stand by her with that because, you know, lots of times, especially men do this. I'm just going to throw y'all men under the bus a little bit more. Like, men will have a wife and some kids, and then, you know, that marriage falls apart. They'll meet another woman and have some more kids and forget about the last family, you know, like, and it's really triggering, you know, to see that. That's what happened with my family specifically. You know, one marriage didn't work out, start another one, and heck, in my situation with my father, this happened 2 and 3 times. So there's like all these displaced families and children everywhere, you know. So it's very triggering. So when she said that, I was like, well, at least there are people who do realize how emotional and damaging that could be, because her kids might look at it as, oh well, she gave us as much of, we don't know how much time, but as much of her time as she could, and she was there for us. She was a car ride away, and now she went and had another child, and she's married, and now what about us? You know,
But
so I do respect.
we're overlooking the fact that she is getting up there in age. I'm not saying she's old, but she's getting up there in age. But said it herself that she truly doesn't think she can even get pregnant. So
Yeah, she did say that.
Attention, boohoo! I need a vacation. I want to go pet an alligator and go into a pageant, and I need a spa
You know,
day.
I think she had her tubes tied.
I think she
That's
did too.
that's why she is so against or keeps making excuses why she can't have she don't want to have a baby. I
But
think
100%.
she got her tubes tied and she don't want Gino to know.
but if
Yep.
that were true, couldn't she just say okay, and then they just never get pregnant? Because like, how would he know the difference?
No, because then Gino's going to be like, well, let's go to the doctor to see why you can't get pregnant or why you haven't got pregnant. And then it's going to come out.
Fertility doctor. He'll take her to a fertility doctor and all the shit, and we can try IVF. And then the doctor says, no, we can't, because you can't have babies.
Oh, I mean, I looked at it as if she did have her tube tied, she could just pretend like they're trying. So you're saying like after a while, he would eventually figure out, because technically he's never had a child. He could be the problem too. He doesn't know what's going on either. So they will both be blind in the situation, because they could say they were trying. How long? Okay, so how long is trying before you think something is wrong? Like, how long do you go? Like months?
Some people after a month, they're like, oh no, it didn't work. We had sex 43 times in a month and something's wrong because we didn't get pregnant. Other people go for 5 years and are like, oh no, something's wrong. And then they're on their way to the doctor and find out they're pregnant. So every woman's different. Every single woman is different.
I think it depends on the situation and if, you know, where y'all are in y'all's relationship. But I would say after a year, if you're constantly trying, I would say after a year, then I would go to the doctor to see what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think that's why she keeps making all these excuses that she's depressed, she don't have her kids because her alopecia, because she's this, because she's that, you know. That's why she don't want to she keeps making all these excuses because I think she got her tubes tied. I could be wrong, but I haven't been wrong on anything yet. So
Yeah, you might be on to something. I mean, she promised this man a baby, and then she decided to renege on her promise, and then she didn't even tell him. Like, I think you're onto something. Okay, so I want to talk about this bride price again. We covered it last week, but Lisa, I think. Oh, hey, Lisa. Lisa's in here. So Lisa has a personal issue with the word property. And we went through, we went through the process tonight, which I thought was super great for Kobe and his family to have this such an informative educational lesson of the tradition, right? They explained to everybody what was going on. They explained why it was possible. And I did like the idea that it said, you asking us for these things would prove that we would be able to take care of your daughter, which I thought I respected that, because she's becoming part of their family. And, you know, when you're kind of, I hate the word giving away. Like, you know, when you get married, you give your daughter. I still don't like that, but when you're giving your daughter away to a man and his family, you want to make sure that your daughter is going to be fully taken care of and she's not going to need anything. So I kind of link those two traditions because we have that in our culture as well. You know, the father, you know, you ask the father for permission and then he gives her to you, which I'm saying it out loud, I don't like it, but it is our tradition. But part of that tradition, he said that Emily will become property of Kobe's family, to the extent he said that if anything, God forbid, were to happen to Emily and she was to pass away, she would be buried with their family in Cameroon.
I felt her mom. Everything her mom's face said, I felt in my heart. I was like, right then and there, I'd have been like, nope, sorry, they're already married in America. Let's go.
So you would have, it was done. You would have been done. You would have just left.
As soon as you said property and you're burying my kids somewhere else, I'm out.
Oh, so Lisa says, to be fair, it was never expressed to us that way when we were in Cameroon. Oh, so this was the first time that she heard it. I mean, I don't disagree with your reaction though, Lisa. Your reaction was very normal as a mother, a concerned mother, because buying and selling, I talked about this before, buying and selling people and referring to people as property is so triggering for me. You know, obviously America has it.
It sounds like human trafficking. I mean,
it does.
That's what they're doing, human trafficking. They sell, you know, children or people, you know. And no, I'm with Karen, I'm with Lisa, and I'm with you, George. As soon as someone would have said property, just not even mentioning money, is all they had to say was property, and no.
So
my child, I don't care how old my child is my property.
100%.
Dee Dee, nobody is anybody's property.
They're mine. I made them. I cooked them for 9 months. Okay, they're mine.
They're more yours than anybody else's. You're right.
So
You're right.
if they're
They're more
going to
yours
be
than anybody.
anybody's property, they're going to be mine.
So
nobody else's.
we know that they're using these words symbolically, right? I feel like we know that they aren't going to take her and keep her there or whatever. But I think Lisa made a really good point.
It's not symbolically when they say, if she were to die, we would bury her here. No.
Well, that part that's scary too, because imagine visiting graves is very, very important, right? For anyone who's lost anyone. So the idea that your child is on the other side of the world, you know, so on special times, the birthdays, you know, special events that you shared with that person, you always go and you spend some time at that site. This is going to be almost impossible for her family. And I would wonder if that's a negotiable factor or how does that work? Because where I've seen families literally fight over who gets to bury who and where. Like the husband might want to bury them somewhere, the family wants to cremate or vice versa. And this literally have torn people apart to the point where they don't talk to each other anymore. So this is a lot to spring on a family just so you can do the wedding in the husband's country to make it valid. So do you think it's important that they make the wedding and union valid in Cameroon, or do you think that this is, and anything, a courtesy to the family that they might not do? Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like it's awesome that they're trying to embrace Kobe's culture. I think that's great. And I wish that all of these couples could do that. Kobe's culture comes across to us as so overpowering, like so much. His friends are so much. She's a white woman. She's an American woman. She's bossy. She's naggy. That's their perception of her, the smidge that they know of her. They don't know her. So that's just an assumption. So with that assumption, now you're saying, if something happens to her, we're taking her, we're burying her. She's our property. She's marrying us. You know, when Kobe came to America and they got married, Emily's parents welcomed him to the family. They didn't make Kobe their property. They didn't lay out all these rules. I mean, the cultures are so different, but the controlling aspect of it, I would have a really hard time. I would want to honor his culture, but at the same time, I would have a really hard time agreeing to literally everything being said.
It's interesting because Emily's lived with him for so long, and he's not like that. He's not overbearing. He's not controlling, and he doesn't, he's never referred to her as property or, told her what to do. Hell, if anything, it was the other way around. I remember when she had him scooping up cow poop when he got there. Like, he's been very open to her culture.
Yeah.
And I feel like his family has zero interest in being open to anything that has to do with Emily and her culture and anything that they're trying to understand, because they're kind of using it as, well, this is how we do things and you just have to deal with it. And I understand, when two people come together, there should be a compromise, but not, one person should completely submit to the other culture. We're watching this with Nicole and Mahmoud, and it never works out well. It never does. It never does.
But also, don't you feel like, there's a lot that has been sprung on Emily and her parents. Like, they went to Cameroon to see his culture, to go on a family vacation, to introduce the grandbabies to the grandparents over there, all of that. And then it was sprung on them. Now you have to have a wedding here. You're only here for 2 weeks, but we have to have a wedding. So something they're totally not prepared for is just now happening. And now you have to make a list, pick a bride price, all the things that they weren't prepared for. That's a lot to spring on someone.
Yeah. Especially in American culture, I know people who start planning weddings up to 2 years in advance, right?
Right.
So can you imagine you land in a foreign land, you've never been there, right? And you get there and they're like, oh, you're going to be here for 14 days. So before you leave, let's have a wedding.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the amount of stress that puts on anyone. And then start barking out cultural requirements for the wedding as well. Like, well, we're doing the wedding, but you also have to sell me your daughter. You have to come up with a list of things that you want from us so we can prove that we can take care of her. You also have to give us rights to where she can be buried. Like, this is a lot. Like, not just for a mom, but just like for anybody, right?
Right.
Like, there are people who have animals that consider their animals to be their family, and they would never give another person the right of what happens to that animal because that's their baby. So imagine, we're talking about human beings, okay? We're talking about a person here, and there are people who wouldn't even give their dog, like in a divorce, they will fight to the end to take away their dog. So imagine, we're talking about a daughter that they've raised, that they've spent their whole life building into the person that she is. So it is a lot, and I think that appeasing other people's cultures sometimes take it too far. I think we've watched this show enough to know that sometimes you can't make the other person happy, and you can't always give in to what their culture is expecting from you. And I think I got to place some blame on Kobe, because Kobe knew by marrying an American woman, he was going to be forfeiting some of his cultural requirements. Like a lot of times, you can't, we watched it with Nicole and Mahmoud. Mahmoud wanted a Muslim wife in the form of a white American from LA. You're not going to get everything you want, right? That's like going to a car lot and you're like, well, I want the most expensive car that you have, that runs on electricity, that has everything that you can want and Wi-Fi, but I only have $10,000. Well, you're not going to get everything you want, right?
I'd like it to be a 1979.
Right.
Something that just impossible.
You can't even get a used car for $10,000.
Right. Like, you have to pick your battles, pick and choose your battles. Okay. One last thing I want to talk about before we end tonight. Angela and Michael made an appearance on this episode 10, which is crazy, right? Because we've been back and forth with, were they even on the show? Was Angela fired from the network? Is anything? So now they're here. They're in Nigeria, and this is right before Michael's third visa interview. Okay, so K1 visa, student visa denied. That's already pretty crazy, right? The fact that he had two visas denied, and then this was his spousal visa that he was going to the interview for. And Cara, I want to ask you a question, because we saw the papers that he was going to bring to the interview. It was a screenshot of a fight between him and Angela, where Angela accused him of cheating, which he probably was. We don't know that, but possibly, I don't know. And the weird part is, was this self-sabotage? Why would you bring that to the interview?
I think he said it best, and I think he did it right. Because real couples have real fights.
They do.
Sometimes it's verbal, sometimes it's by text. And that was probably the cleanest, nicest text. Or as Angela says, Texas. That was the cleanest, nicest Texas that he could find, that there was only like 8 cuss words in it. Because I can't imagine that the way she talks, I can only imagine the way she texts.
So, I don't know. So apparently we went over the time, so they ended the live. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Michael and Angela a little bit before we end. Sorry about that. I guess we got an hour limit on the lives now. They used to let us go over, but I guess not. So we got to try to be faster. I guess we only had an hour, so we went over. Unfortunately, Instagram thought that we were being a little long-winded. That's okay. We'll finish up on this live though. They can't stop us. I guess we were being too long-winded for them, so we back. We're done when we're done, guys. Yeah. When we're done talking, we're done. Yeah, they kicked us. They kicked us off the live. So, but that's okay. We will always be back. Okay, so I want to talk about this Michael and Angela thing, because she said that he was crazy for what he said, and it's interesting because you said that he was trying to show that real couples fight. But see, in my opinion, I think any negative aspect of the relationship you would try to mask from them. Do you think?
Yes and no. I thought about it a lot when I was watching it. If you go in there and everything is sunshine and rainbows, they're gonna be like, these people are faking this shit. They've come up with all of this. You know, their stories match perfectly. He wants it to be real. You know, we had a fight. This was our fight, and we've come this far, and we've made up, and everything's great, and here we are.
So, Dee Dee, do you feel the same? Do you think it's good to show them that you're real and you do fight? Because I don't know, in my opinion, any negativity, I think, would have them think that, I don't know. I feel like you're only wanting to put your best foot forward at these type of interviews. Do you think it's good to show that there is, I guess
it's normal to show that y'all fight, because I mean, these immigration people, I mean, I'm sure they fight with their significant other too, but would not show something that you're fighting because you got caught cheating. I mean, that right there is just going to be, well, he's scamming her, or this is why he was flagged before, because of scamming. So, yeah.
I think that maybe his intentions were to show that it was a real relationship. But you should say, like, you're fighting over, I called you and you didn't pick up and I was worried about you.
Or I told
rather than
you to get a bag of potatoes from the store and you didn't.
Yeah, it shouldn't
like
be
petty stuff.
I think infidelity.
But like I said, that was probably their cleanest fight yet.
Well, yeah, I can imagine. Remember when she went to Nigeria because she was upset with him and she literally ripped his car into pieces? Like, we're talking the intensity of the fighting and screaming and yelling. He probably, that was, like you said, the most usable fight text that he could use, where she wasn't, completely out of control.
Yeah,
right? We know
she's always calling him a scammer. She's always calling him, I mean, every other word that comes out of her mouth, well, you're scamming me, you're a scammer, you just want my money, and all this other stuff. So why would he want to show that to them? I mean,
well, that if the word scammer, I feel like in any type of communication for a visa, especially from Nigeria to America, it's gonna get you flagged. Because Angela,
that's exactly Dee Dee's point. Every freaking fight they have results in her saying, you're a scammer, you're scamming me, all you want is my money. So this was probably the cleanest fight they had, where she wasn't saying, you want my money, you're a scammer. It was, you're cheating, blah, 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 which is more of a normal couple fight than a scamming fight.
You're right. So when when I was watching the recap, so Angela was doing her little recap because this was her first episode, and we went back to the Texas that she got from her friend where he was sending voice notes, and then we went back to all of the, and I was like, oh my god, every time she goes back and we watch a video, he's cheating on her. And I was like, I'm beginning to wonder, how did he end up here? Because she was like, oh yeah, he was cheating and that hurt me and this hurt me. And I was like, it's like a pattern of behavior, but yet he still somehow got here. And she was a little surprised that things went the way that they did. And I was like, well, when they're telling the story this way, it doesn't surprise me that it went the way that they did, because he seemed to always be talking to whoever they wanted. And did you guys see there's a scene coming up? We didn't see it yet, but she tried to take his phone to go through his phone, and they got physical. And if somebody wants to look at your phone and you flip out, especially you get physical, there's something on that phone, right? Because if there's nothing on, who cares? Like, if you take my phone, I'll be like, cool, go have a seat, grab a drink. You're not going to find nothing on there. But if somebody is literally, right?
That's what I told my husband. I'm like, if you want to look at my phone, that's fine. Just don't look at my Amazon. That's all I ask.
Yeah, and don't look at, I do have a bank account that nobody knows about. So, but like, that's just so I can save money. But I probably won't, people know about it now. But like, I do have a bank account that no one knows about, where I just put money in and I don't spend anything, but I don't tell anybody. And it's not like I'm trying to like run away or anything like that. It's just like, if I keep it in my regular bank account, I'm going to spend it. So
no, George, you need to be truthful about it. You're saving money because one of these days me and Cara is going to snap and you're going to have to get us out of jail.
And I don't even know what state it's going to be in, right? I don't even know what state it's going to be in. I'm just going to have to find y'all and go. And I'm worried because, I don't want it to be like some outrageous bail, because I don't know what else to do.
Especially if we ever get invited to the tell-all. We would definitely go to jail.
Don't worry, though. We'll send you some texts about it.
Yeah, you'll have to text me about it so I'll know where you are, right?
Yes.
And, try not to get arrested in the states where they have like really crazy laws where the bail is really high. Or some states, they don't have bail for some stuff, so be careful. Then I can't help, right? I can't help. But this episode with Angela and Michael, it wasn't a lot. We didn't get a lot of information. We saw the preparation for, because we already know what happened with the interview, obviously. He's here. And he's, last we saw, he was in Indiana living his best life at a party. And there was a live today on TikTok that Angela, Soulja Boy, Kim, Tyree, they were all on it together. And apparently the Angela and Kim beef is settled. And then the Angela and Soulja Boy beef is settled, because this live, Soulja Boy was saying how he wished that he could have Angela and Kim as his sister wives. So apparently...
So sad I missed it.
Yeah, it was on TikTok today. I'm sure somebody screen recorded it, so we'll have to find it on YouTube. But it was
I'm gonna have to get on TikTok and go, because I follow all the bloggers, follow me, and I follow all the bloggers, so I'm pretty sure I'll see it on TikTok.
The usual suspects, like Reality TV Mess, I'm pretty sure they're gonna post a screen recording of it. But yeah, it was interesting, because we saw the tell-all where Angela and if Angela and Soulja Boy were in the same place at the same time for that tell-all, there would have been a lot of police activity, right? Like, they would have, in an ambulance probably, it would have been bad. So to see them interacting, and it's really funny because Soulja Boy was telling Angela at that tell-all that, she was a scammer, she was a horrible human being, and now Angela is talking to him like, oh my gosh, he was the one doing this to me, and I was trusting the wrong people. And it's an interesting dynamic, because they really, really, really hated each other, and she really wanted nothing to do with him. She actually wanted Kim to stop talking to him. She labeled him a scammer. She labeled him a horrible human being. And now to see them on the live, and they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have listened to you. We actually we're really alike. We could get along. And it's just interesting, because you go from hating somebody to understanding them. Sometimes, it's funny, because sometimes people are really trying to help you, and you can't see it because you're blinded by something going on in your life. So it's just interesting to me.
Yep. I'm sad I missed it, but I'll find it.
Oh, yeah. It'll be online.
TikTok, as soon as we get done, I got to find it. Because like I said, all the bloggers follow me. So Yeah, on
You'll see
TikTok.
it.
So I gotta find it. I'll see it.
There must have been something going on today because there wasn't a lot of tweets live tweeting today. Like I don't know if it's like basketball finals or something because there wasn't a lot of action
Well, there's a
today.
lot of graduations going on, so
That might be it. Yeah, because I feel like the bloggers have not been quick to the punch lately either. Like a lot of people are posting stuff late, like that story with Sophie and her outfit at the thing. Like nobody was posting that, and that live that I was talking about, I still haven't seen it anywhere. Like it's weird. Like everybody is so to the punch today. So I was like, it must be the NBA finals or something because nobody.
Memorial Day is next weekend.
Yeah.
What day? Saturday or Sunday?
I think it's. Wait a minute. Look it up. I can't
I'll tell you.
remember, but I know it's next weekend.
Yeah, it's next weekend.
Oh, okay.
It's technically Monday, but it's next weekend.
Oh, so it's Monday. It probably won't affect us. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'll see what y'all got going on.
I don't know. Everybody around here goes camping for a 4-day weekend.
Camping? Isn't it?
I don't have
Oh,
nothing
wait.
going on. Same old, same old.
I don't think I do. Y'all know I don't be doing anything if it's not at Disney World or Universal or SeaWorld or.
I know what you were going to ask. You were going to ask if it's cold here, if it's too cold for camping.
Oh,
no,
no.
George. We're having a heat wave. It's 54 degrees today.
I realized right before I said it, it's in the middle of May. Well, towards the end of May, so it's probably not cold there anymore. 54 here in this state, people would not leave the house. It would be so cold. It would be
Memorial Day weekend. We have a high of 59, so it's going to be warm.
Shoot, 54 degrees, I'd be all snowed up in my boots and my sweaters and my scarves and all that other stuff.
That's shorts and tank top weather here.
Well, in Florida, if 54 degrees is enough for people to flip out, like they'll take their plants inside. They will put their car in the garage because they're scared it'll freeze.
That's so funny.
You know, like
that's literally when we mow our lawn and turn on our sprinklers.
That's funny. Today, give you an idea, it was 93 degrees today. There was a day last week, the day that I did Magic Kingdom, it was 97. It was the worst day of my life. I was so hot, guys. I'm not built for this. Like anything over 90 degrees is just not okay. Like what is happening in the world? Anything over that, it's like we're literally in a oven. We're literally walking around inside of an oven. Who's doing this to us and why?
Right?
Yeah, it's supposed to next week. We're supposed to be in the triple digits here, so.
It's scary for me because it's not summer here yet. So these are still fall temperatures and we're pushing 100. So this summer, it's not uncommon that we hit 102, 103 here. I'm not looking forward to it because then that means I'm Mahmoud. I'm stuck in the house. I'm not allowed to go anywhere. I'm being held against my will at this point, right?
Believe it or not, we do hit triple digits here often in the summer.
So wait, it's cold in the winter and really, really hot in the summer?
Yeah.
That's a horrible combination.
It's not just cold in the winter. It's really, really, really cold in the winter.
See,
and I mean, we just had snow like a week and a half ago. So.
See, that was the one thing I did like when I lived in Ohio. It was cold in the winter, hell, and most other times. But the summer, the hottest we ever would see, like a hot day in Ohio was like 84. Like it never got really hot. Like I think one time we hit 90, they closed all the schools, they closed the library, they closed the bank. Wow. They were scared that people were gonna drop dead. They closed everything. They didn't want you to leave the house. The police were asking people not to go out, like because it was like 90. So like because now 90 is cool. Like for a Floridian in the middle of the summer and it's only 90, you can go to the grocery store because it's usually 90. Yeah. You know, like it's usually 99.
It is here too. So yeah.
All right,
90 degrees. Yeah.
TJ
nothing.
had 80s on the coast. I knew I should have went to the coast last week.
What? No, you know what? That's true. My bestie said that it was really cold in California this past week, which I was so jealous. I'm so jealous. Their weather is so much better than ours. They don't have the humidity either. I made the wrong choice, guys. I should have moved to Cali. Did.
I know.
No.
All right, guys.
No, you didn't know because you right down the road from me, George.
I know you
I am. I
On the
am.
road from.
I'm like in Disney's backyard, which is like so cool, right? It's so
But
cool.
I
I can hear
mean,
the fireworks. I can
in
hear the
California,
fireworks, the Magic Kingdom fireworks from my backyard. I can't see them, but I can hear them, which I think is really cool.
there's Disney in California too. Come on.
There is, and actually, don't get mad, but I like Disneyland, like a lot, like a lot. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you can't like Disneyland because you've been to Disney World and it's like a cheap knockoff. But I don't feel that way at all. I feel like Disneyland is so nice. Like I don't want to say one is better than the other. I think that they're equal though. Like for real. Like a lot of people say that it's like the Dollar Tree version, but I don't get that. I like it. All right, guys. So we're gonna come back tomorrow and we're gonna talk about MILF Manor, which I haven't watched yet, and we're gonna talk about Love in Paradise, which will be on tomorrow. More Kyle drama, as obviously. And then Sean and Aaliyah. And who else were we talking about from Love in Paradise? I'm excited about this season, though. It's been pretty good so far. I know I've got mixed reviews. Like some people said that they really hate this season. I actually think it's a lot of drama and craziness. Reminds me of My Strange Addiction. Everybody's weird. Oh, the guy with the threesomes. Adriano. So I feel like they brought a decent amount of drama this season. And so we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to talk about those two shows. So MILF Manor and Love in Paradise. Hopefully they don't cut us off. They don't like that we're long-winded on here, but I don't care. All right, so make sure you guys are here and join us tomorrow. Thank you to Cara and Dee Dee. Will you start a Seeking Sister Wives podcast? Is that still on?
Yeah.
Oh, it's still on.
We were supposed to, Ben done started it.
Oh, let me watch whatever I got on my DVR, and then Dee Dee, it's Cara, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
It's like 12 episodes in.
Oh, maybe we'll do an end of season recap. We could definitely do like an end of season recap on that because I didn't realize how far deep in we were. But yeah, once it's over, maybe we'll do like an end of season recap and we can go in because I heard that Garrick and Danielle are having a baby or something. There's like a lot of drama. So yeah, let's do an end of season recap. So I guess whenever the finale is, maybe we'll come on that night and we'll discuss like everything from that season. And then we'll do that. So that way we can talk about it. All right, guys. Thank you to Cara and Dee Dee. Make sure you're following them both. As you can see, they're both back tonight. Cara's back. Don't leave again, Cara. Don't leave again. All right, guys. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, GeorgeMossey.com. Anywhere you get your podcast, type in the George Mossey Show. Everybody have a wonderful night, and we'll see you all tomorrow night.
Bye. Bye.